Witchcraft in Orkney possibly has its roots in the settlement of Norsemen on the archipelago from the 8th century onwards. Until the early modern period, magical powers were accepted as part of the general lifestyle, but witch hunts began on the mainland of Scotland in about 1550, and the Scottish Witchcraft Act of 1563 made witchcraft or consultation with witches a crime punishable by death. One of the first Orcadians tried and executed for witchcraft was Allison Balfour, in 1594. Balfour, her elderly husband and 2 young children, were subjected to severe torture for 2 days to elicit a confession from her. Trials were generally held in St Magnus Cathedral, where the accused were also incarcerated while being interrogated. Once convicted, witches were taken to Gallow Ha to be executed by strangulation, and then their bodies were burned. Early laws also allowed the seizure of any property or belongings of those guilty of any crimes associated with witchcraft. This was manipulated to suit whatever purpose the ruling earls such as Patrick Stewart, 2nd Earl of Orkney, had in mind, and left much of the island's population destitute. These laws were overturned in 1611 but were replaced by Scottish law, causing a shift from the exploitation by the Earls to the administration of justice by the Bishop's Court of James Law, a fervent minister from West Lothian. The reforms instituted by the restoration of the bishops had a significant impact but failed to introduce any neutrality into the proceedings against those accused of witchcraft during the most intensive period of witch hunting on the island from 1615 until 1645. The new court regime produced varying results regarding punishments passed down. The first trial, held on 7 June 1615, was against 2 women from Westray. Both were deemed guilty, but one was sentenced to be banished after a severe public flogging while the other was tied to a stake, strangled and burned. Charges in cases varied, but the slightest misdemeanour could lead to charges of witchcraft and devilry being brought and upheld. If confessions of associations with the devil were not forthcoming, convictions were obtained on the basis of consorting with fairies. In 1616, Elspeth Reoch was found guilty and executed after she admitted having sexual intercourse with a fairy man. Mirroring the time span of witch persecution on the mainland of Scotland, the trials in Orkney drew to an end in 1708. Most took place prior to 1650. 68 people had been accused. The majority, around 90%, were women, a higher ratio than that recorded in the rest of the country.